February 17th, 2025, 9:45 a.m. I write this now from my campsite. The sky overhead is filled with wispy clouds. Clouds that may or may not stick around through sunset. Though in all honesty, I'd prefer a clear blue sky. There's far less pressure with the blue sky. For those unfamiliar with this environment, it may seem empty, hostile, unadorned with life. But to those who know it well, they find abundant life and a sense of peace with the land. Long before a lost group of Western settlers made their way through this valley in the mid-1800s and named it Death Valley, it had a far more fitting name. A name given by the people who have called it home for thousands of years. Timbisha, a name meaning rock paint. To the Timbisha Shoshone, this is a place of life, not death. I look forward to seeing what I managed to find on this year's visit. It's time to get out and explore. So it is just afternoon, and I got my campsite set up, and now I've returned to a canyon that I photographed I think 2 years ago. And there was another scene back in here with some boulders I photographed the year before that. So it's a pretty cool little canyon, but it's a little bit sketchy. There are several areas that would be very easily eroded, and if those areas are eroded, it would limit access to where I am. So I always like to go back here and check on things, see if I can still get back up in here, see if anything has changed. And it looks mostly the same. Mostly blue sky overhead, some wispy high clouds, which I don't think are going to stick around through sunset. I think they're just here for the afternoon. And there is a scene not far from here, which I tried to photograph a couple years back. And it's just kind of an interesting area at the foot of the mountains. And I photographed it in the morning, but the light wasn't so good. So maybe today, just after the sun sets, I'll get some pretty good light on it. So my goal is to kill a little time for now, but then I will head over there, see about setting up a composition, and get that first photo out of the way, because that is a good feeling. But until then, I'm going to keep on wandering. Well, it's going on 3:30, and I came to an area that I photographed quite a few years back. It was in the morning, the light wasn't great. I thought it might have a bit of a subtle reflected light glow, but it was just kind of blah light. But the sky, there's some clouds up there right now. They were a bit stronger earlier in the afternoon, but they're starting to fade a little bit now. There's more blue sky. So I've got a composition here with these sort of white rocks going in the foreground and all the zigzagging angular shapes of the piles of the other debris there. And my goal is to expose a sheet of film as we get closer to sunset. Maybe when the sun is behind a cloud where it's just a diffused warm light, And then maybe also as soon as the sun sets back behind the mountains to get a little bit of a glow, but not to worry about any shadows in the foreground. But we'll see. I've got about 2 hours until sunset, so actually a little bit less than that because I'm just looking for the sun to drop back behind the mountains, not a true sunset. But at least the wind isn't too strong right now. So that was just a safety shot in partially cloudy conditions. I figured just while we have a little bit of a more diffuse sort of light, but still has some warmth to it. But then I'm going to wait for the sun to drop a little lower, and I think there's a little gap between the clouds and the mountains. But if the clouds that are over the top of the Panamint Range, if they light up a little bit, that warm light with the cool light, kind of a twilight sort of light is more so what I have in mind, but it's good to have a backup as well. So, first sheet of the trip. Alright, for this one the light is a little bit cooler, a little more subdued, a little less dynamic range. I honestly don't know what's going to look best for this, or if any of this light is going to look good for this one. That's why I shoot through the various windows of light, just so I have the options, because I learn a little something each time. The sun is still above the mountains, but it's behind some denser clouds than the first photo that I shot. I should also mention that I have a 3-stop ND filter on the lens, which allows me to slow my shutter speed down to the range of seconds, which is a lot easier to time with this, because otherwise I start getting these in-between settings, which are difficult to do on a lens that only has full stop increments. So, helps me avoid mental math, which is good, because I'm not good at mental math. But I'm going to hang out here a little while longer and see what happens. See if the clouds are hovering over the Panamint Range, if they light up a little bit, because then I would have like a warm light that's low on the horizon, and then the blue light from the sky. So you get this kind of warm, cool thing going on. But again, I've got no clue how it's going to look. So we'll see. So the sun is partially obstructed by the mountains. So the foreground's getting a little darker now. My shadow for my camera is in the foreground. So I'm wondering if there's going to be a moment when there's going to be light on the cliffs in the background, but the foreground's dark. But I don't think there will be. Just because it's not just the sun setting behind the mountains, there's clouds there too. So it's kind of like a diffuse sort of light. So I'm ready to shoot a photo in case the light's pretty good, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think waiting for the more blue hour sort of shot is going to be my best bet. And now the sun's basically set behind the mountain, but still really glowy over there just because you got some clouds there. So should actually be pretty soon. I should be able to expose a sheet of film here. All right, so this will be 1.6 seconds. At 45. I took off the ND filter, so shutter speeds are getting a little more reasonable again. So just a little bit of a glow off to the west, and I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. But this is my 240mm lens, just kind of a moderate wide angle, but very good to get those first few sheets of film exposed on this trip. And now it's time to go back to camp, make some dinner, and get some rest, because man, it has been a long day. So quiet here. The photo I took that evening is far from my best work on this trip, but it was an important first step, and I look forward to all that would await me in the days to come. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you around next time. You may have noticed this video has no ads and no sponsors, and I think it's nicer that way. If you enjoy this ad-free and clickbait-free content and want to help me live my dream, a voluntary contribution through PayPal or by joining my Patreon helps keep my gas tank full and my film freezer stocked. You can find more information by visiting my website at benhorne.com/donate. I also have prints, ebooks, and my annual portfolio is available on my website. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.